We are honored to have with us the most prominent Muslim elected official in America, representing Minneapolis in his 5th term in Congress, Keith Ellison. Congressman Ellison follows a philosophy of generosity and inclusiveness and has a passion for promoting peace, prosperity, and working families, environmental stability, and civil and human rights. He wrote the Credit Card Holders' Bill of Rights of 2009, Protecting Tenants in Foreclosure Act. As a member of House Financial Services Committee, he helps oversee the nation's financial services and housing industries, as well as Wall Street. I have a long introduction, but I'm going to shorten that. And I'm going to just say this one thing. Mahatma Gandhi once said that anyone who says they're not interested in politics is like a drowning man who insists he's not interested in water. Congressman Ellison brings honor to the profession of politics, and he's here to make sure that we don't drown. Please welcome Congressman Keith Ellison.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Well, thank you, my brothers and sisters, for your excellent, excellent work over the last 21 years. It's so important to get together and celebrate moments like this. The mere existence of the Shura Council is a tremendous triumph and a success. And I think that to stop for a moment and just savor the success is very, very important. Because you could get caught up in the moment. You could get caught up in the day-to-day realities and the things that we're facing on a regular basis. But unless you remember starting out and the small number of people who were there in the beginning and the labors you had to go through to get there, it's hard to appreciate how good we're doing right now. And I want to bring that to your attention because people often ask me, Brother Keith, aren't you sort of upset about Donald Trump and all this kind of stuff? And they ask me these kind of questions, and I usually tell them the answer that comes to my mind, which is no, I'm not concerned about Donald Trump at all. Because I'm aware of all the tremendous success that Muslim communities across the country are experiencing all the time. Absolutely. Let me tell you, it's absolutely true. Now, you might think, well, of course, New York and California, we've got very successful programs, feeding the hungry, interfaith dialogue. We're engaging civic leaders. We're doing a lot of important things. But I'm telling you, even in places like Columbia, South Carolina, Oklahoma City, Utah, small towns in Tennessee, Muslim communities are building mosques. They are engaging the communities around them. They are influencing the local politics around them. And they are making a meaningful difference day in, day out. And this is important for us all to be aware because, we might think that all we're doing is catching hits from bad people. No, we are making important strides daily, and I want you to know it. You know what the good things happening here, but there's good things happening all over this country, and Muslims are making amazing contributions all the time. Allahu Akbar. And so I just want to tell you about a few things, and then I want to offer a few ideas that I think we really need to pursue. But just as an example, in my own town of Minneapolis, Minnesota, I had this gentleman who is the head of a important wealth management fund, whose grandfather was the president of the United States at one time. His last name is Taft. He said, "Hey, Keith, I'm really upset about all this anti-Muslim hate going on. I think we ought to do a full-page ad denouncing this anti-Muslim bigotry and upholding our shared American value of religious tolerance." We went out and got CEOs from all the major corporations, and I want to just tell you, we ended up with only 2 Muslims out of about 20 people, me and a man who happens to be the CEO of Medtronic. His name is Omar Ishraq. He's a Muslim. He's from London, but he's originally from Bangladesh. Everybody else on there was Christian or Jewish. And all of them put their names on an ad denouncing anti-Muslim bigotry. And so one of the things that I think that we really have to do everywhere, and this is very important at the local level. This is not a congressional thing. This has got to be done city by city, community by community, is go to these folks who are leading the companies and the big employers and the political leaders and get them on something, an ad or something like that, or write an op-ed for them, which you can place in the local newspaper, in which you can help, in which they can help us establish a standard of conduct. Now you might think, well, what's one ad gonna do? Let me tell you, this particular ad did a lot of good. It went all over social media. We had people, Muslims, set up a sign-on sheet. If you want to agree with the ad, sign up here. And what we began to do in a very important way is to establish a standard of conduct. So if you are working for Best Buy and you want to say something hateful about some Muslims, you better be concerned because the CEO signed a full-page ad denouncing anti-Muslim bigotry. Right? If you work for Medtronic and you want to say something hateful on your Facebook page about Muslims, it's probably not that good of an idea because you already know how the CEO feels about that. And we start establishing a standard of conduct. Now, there's a whole lot of ways that we can do this. We should employ our allies as we do it. We should employ our friends. Now, a bunch of Muslims were a little mad at me. They said, Brother Keith, we want to be on the ad. I said, do we need to convince you that anti-Muslim bigotry is a bad thing? They said, no. I said, well, no, you don't need to be on the ad then, brother. But we set it up. We reached out to these people who have to be concerned because let me tell you, it hurts the brand of all these big companies to have bigots in their midst because they were trying to recruit all kinds of people, including Muslims, to work for their company and to buy some stuff from their company. They don't want to be associated with this ugly. We can use that to help establish a standard of conduct that benefits us and everyone. But there's a lot of things we can do. We also have to continue to get involved in the civic life of the communities that we live in. Do you know we really don't control the Muslim vote? I'm telling you, we don't control the Muslim vote. We have got to figure out a way. We've got to collect some money together, hire some young or not so young people who will go around and get the Muslims registered to vote, who will help organize a vote table at every single mosque on every single Friday, at least Friday, and have a vote committee in the mosque. Now, you don't want to tell them who to vote for because then you would cross the line of the 501c3 organization. But to tell them that they should vote, you can do this. This is quite legal for you to do. And later on, after you capture their data, after you have their email or their other information, then you can tell them who you think they should support. But we live in a country right now where there's at least 10 or 12 states where the Muslim vote is the critical vote. You know, we live in a country where elections are won by 3% all the time. We can muster that, but we have got to organize that vote. So, for example, California, for sure, there's a huge Muslim community here, as you well know, but also Illinois. I mean, you could pick the governor here in California. If it's close, you pick the governor. You can pick the governor in Illinois. You can pick the governor in Michigan. You can pick the governor in Virginia and in Florida. But we got to be organized to do it. We also need to understand that when we have an organization that is going to literally organize the Muslim voter and put them in a database, we can draw on the talents of not just the organizer who will go around getting people in the database, but we have a lot of computer science talent in the Muslim community, do we not? Do we? Absolutely. And so you can help us develop the algorithms to help find all these Muslims who live in all these communities and help then give them voting information, who's running, who's not. And this, in turn, will help motivate them to be involved. Because why do most Americans, Muslim or not vote? Because they don't know who the candidates are, they don't know what the issues are. But if we can get an agency that will tell them and will encourage them and will alert them and stay in touch with them and give them information on the basis of an Islamic value system, we can make a meaningful difference throughout the country. I'm telling you, this is something that we can do, and I would be glad to come back here to work with you on actually establishing such a thing. Now, a few years ago, we were talking about Muslim Day on the Hill. You know what I mean? This is when we get all the Muslims we can, and we go to the state capitol. The state capitol. Why the state capitol? Because people want to go to Washington, D.C., and please come to Washington, D.C. I'd love to be there with you. But the truth is, we got a lot of loggerhead, log jam in Washington, D.C. But in Sacramento, you can make a big difference. And you don't need a lot of people to go there. You go to Sacramento and you meet with all of the elected officials, and then you do a number of things. One thing you do is you see that it's not that scary, right? It's not that scary. The next thing you see is that they know that you're from their district. You are a constituent. They know that you're an important person. You can get them in office or you can get them out. And you're talking to them about what? Your agenda. What's the agenda? I don't know. That is for the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California to decide. My advice is 3 items. No more than 3. Because once you get down to 4 and 5 and 6, people don't even know what they were. You need 3 because you need everybody who goes to lobby to be able to tell the member who the council, the legislator they're talking to what they are without having to do any more than look at a quick card. How do you decide what the 3 are going to be? A survey. I advise you to have at least one be something that is unique to the Muslim community. Because if you're not for yourself, who's going to be? Another one of them should be for the people of California. Just a general good thing for the people of California. Clean air. 0 waste. Just something that's going to help everybody. This is in the Muslim spirit. We're here to be a benefit to our neighbors. And the third should be something that enhances the quality of justice and will help the Muslim community specifically. So if you say, okay, we want something on halal foods, you might already have that, but pick something else. Number 2, we want something that's going to, for improve educational funding or something like that. And then the third one could be something that will impact the justice system and civil and human rights directly. So, but formulate this agenda and then carry it forward. And then you could even do it on the local level, even at the city and municipal level. And you begin to build these relationships with these legislators and these city council members, then you can enhance other things. Like, for example, local recognition of Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha or Ramadan. Invite these elected officials to the break fast celebrations that we have every evening during Ramadan. Bring them there so that they get to know you. You do this level of engagement, and I'm going to tell you, you're not going to see anybody pushing any anti-Sharia law bills because they're going to know that there's a consequence to do stuff like that. But as long as they think they can pick on you, they will. You better believe it. Why do you think Trump feels so comfortable saying, oh, we're not going to let any Muslims immigrate? Because he don't think none of us are going to vote for him anyway. But if we are engaged and involved and can cost him and others who engage in anti-Muslim hate, they will change their minds. Politicians see the light when they feel the heat. Take it from me. They do. Very important. Very important. We also have got to have more people running for office. Notice, this is a nonpartisan gathering, so I'm not going to tell you which party to run for what party you want. But whenever, has anybody ever said, oh, politics is dirty business? Anybody ever said or heard anybody say something like that? Well, it's only dirty because you won't get involved in it and clean it up. Trust me, there will be a city council member. There will be a state legislator. There will be a governor. There's going to be one whether you are involved or not. The chances of it being an ethical person who is looking out for the best interests of everyone is better if you are involved. It's not a guarantee. And I absolutely guarantee that you're going to have to deal with some messy stuff. But you and I both know that hospital you work at is not a place where everybody's constantly loving everybody all the time. Am I right? Is the hospital you work at just one big love fest every day? No, it can be dirty sometimes. People do things that aren't right sometimes. Am I right? That firm you work at, not everybody there is ethical all the time. Politics is really no dirtier than the general society that we live in. We see ourselves as Muslims on a mission to enhance the moral standard of the society we live in. Politics is part of society. Therefore, you must be part of politics. Does that make sense? When I first ran, I had somebody tell me, Brother Keith, voting is haram. Voting is haram. I said, well, why is voting haram, brother? Well, because let me tell you, I'm from Iraq, and the Iraq war has destroyed the community that I come from, and it's very evil, and politics is what brought that about, and voting is what drives politics. I said, well, I'm running because I'm against the Iraq war, and I want to get us out of there, and I think that every reason they gave us for inviting Iraq was untrue and false, and I'm running to say that. They said, well, then voting may not be haram after all. That leads me to tell you that the Shura Council is the council that picks the imams, is the one, and the imams influence the khutbahs, right? Am I right about this? What the brothers and sisters hear on Friday from that minbar is critically important to their quality of life and their contribution to society. Now, I'm a politician. I'm not going to tell a khatib what to do. I don't even know. I've never done it. And honestly, I respect what they do so much that I'm not going to try to do it as an amateur. I'm going to leave it to the professionals. But I will say this. For the people to hear that it is a very Muslim thing to do, to be actively involved in improving the quality of your community, is very important. For the people to hear from the minbar that active engagement in being part of things and solving the problems of society is very important. For the people to hear from the minbar that if you got poor, hungry people who got no doctor to go to and you're sitting around acting like it's not your problem, this is not the way of the Muslim. This is not what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us. We don't sit around and let hungry people starve while we are belly full. We don't do that. That is not the way we operate. And if that means you got to get involved in politics, well, then in politics you need to be. We've got to hear this from the imam, the imams, and we're not going to hear anything from the imams that the Shura Council does not encourage, because you are the ones who run the masjids. So I say, I'm not making a plea to politicize the mosque. I'm really not. But I am making a plea that we are going to have engaged, informed, active people who are a blessing to their neighbors, who feel that their neighbors are important and valuable no matter what faith they come from, and who feel a compelling urge to serve them. Let me tell you a story that'll make you proud, I think. I went to Ferguson, Missouri. There was, the white police officer shot an unarmed black kid, and the neighborhood exploded. And, when I went there, you could see the damage that was there. And I was there to try to increase voter turnout, because before this, the voter turnout in Ferguson was only 12%. 12%, that's pretty low, right? Meaning 88% of the people who could vote chose not to. And so we thought that this needed to change. So we went out there, we're knocking on doors and talking to people to try to get them to vote in the next election. And one of the places we went is to an African-American church. An African-American church. But inside that church we saw something called Salam Clinic. Salam Clinic. Now, who do you think was running Salam Clinic? Bunch of Muslim doctors. That's right, a bunch of Muslim doctors. These Muslim doctors were joined up with this African-American minister and said, we're going to take care of the medical needs of the people in this community. And I said to them, I said, brothers, alhamdulillah, thank you for this wonderful work that you're doing. It's great that in response to the riot, you all set this clinic up. They said, oh no, Brother Keith, we didn't set this up in response to the riot. We've been doing this for years. For years we've been doing this. And they said, it's been going so well, we set up another one in St. Louis. And these doctors, they said, look, I remember the community I come from in Pakistan was a poor community, and I became a doctor because I wanted to heal people, and I couldn't stand to see people sick and not have any help. But, for reasons and circumstances led me to have to leave the country of my birth, and I came here. And what did I see? I saw poor people here like I saw poor people there. And I remember when I first got here, they didn't have me, in the fancy, nice practice. I had to be serving the underserved community way out in the country or in the inner city community, and I got the tough hours, right? And things have gotten better for me since I got here. I've brought my mother over, I brought my father over, but I never forget where I came from in Pakistan, and I never will forget the communities I served when I first arrived here and was first given a chance to practice medicine. I never forgot this, and I don't care how much Allah blesses me to have. I am never going to stop coming here, inshallah, because it's my duty. It's me paying my dues to my Creator. Now, that brother right there almost got me to tears, because you expect people who are struggling to want to help people who are struggling, but after people stop struggling, sometimes they forget about that struggle, He didn't forget about it. He never forgot it. And even though the language that he spoke when he was a child is different from the language that these people at the Salam Clinic spoke, and even though he looked a little different from them, and even though the food he go home to eat are different from what they might go eat, and they culturally had their differences, he recognized human need, and he said, that's all I need to recognize. I recognize the most important thing, not the superficial stuff, the most important thing. And he asked himself, what would Muhammad do? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he did it. And he did it. So what I'm saying is, the Shura Council is a fundamentally important instrument to serve the needs of the Muslim congregants, to help guide the direction of the Muslim community. It's fundamental in terms of what the Muslim learner about our faith is led to understand. Because if you don't talk about it from the minbar, maybe people would never be exposed to it. Or maybe all they do is learn the words in the Quran, but they don't have any idea about what they mean, or when they were revealed, or what the circumstances they were revealed in, so that they have some true understanding of how to apply the lesson that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to teach us in the Quran. The role you're playing is fundamental, and I'm telling you, you have done an awesome job for the last 21 years. In the next 21 years, inshallah, we're going to have to do better than we did, because we already did great. We already did good. Now we got to do better, right? Am I right? And we got plans to do better. And I want to be there to help you in any way that I can. And I hope, inshallah, we think about how we're going to organize the Muslim vote, how we're going to strengthen the Muslim advocacy, how we're going to engage with communities who need our help and the help of our community. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if we do these things. These Trump people are going to fade away, because they're going to see the strength of the community. They're going to see the friends of the community, and they are going to know who not to mess with. Do you understand what I mean? It's going to take a little time, and it's going to take a little patience, But Allah enjoins on us to have patience, right? We pray for patience. You know, I love to pray the prayer Asr, al-Asr, prayer for patience, right? And it helps strengthen us. And if we slow down and let the words float over us, we could be inspired by them, as opposed to just rattle them off. And so thank you very much for giving me a moment to address you. I regard it as a tremendous privilege to do so. And I look forward to working closely with you into the future, inshallah. And may Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair.